of questions to keep myself aligned. Waste away the hours doing what I should, knowing that my soul tells me it's not for my own good.
So there was a time when spirituality was kind of over here and science was over here. All right. And our beliefs, the things that we believe to be true every day, the things that we talk about, those things that we report as our reality, they really affect our reality, those beliefs. And that has been proven both spiritually, scientifically, and physiologically, okay? And I want you to understand now the power that you have. And because you have this power, you also need to understand that you have a responsibility, okay? So we can choose. And this is very important, okay? So we can choose to create the versions of the life that we want to live. We actually have that power, all right? And knowing this, practicing this, understanding how it's going to happen, how you have this power, how to work with this power, this actually helps you to regain your power. Just the understanding of this, okay? Just understanding what's happening behind the scenes, all right? So by connecting to your inner reality and shifting it, you will no longer rely on the outside world to make you happy. This is how you find your happiness inside. So many of us look for our happiness outside of ourselves, that instant gratification, that piece of us that says, you know, I want this car, I want those boots, I want that house, I want all of those things, I want to dress nice, I want to look good, because these are outside instant gratification. We can mask how we really feel on the inside. All right. But I believe that 2019, well, it should have always been this way, but really I believe that 2019 is about change. So because of that change, we need to understand how we can make that change. So we have the power to manifest our desires, and it really is more than just law of attraction. So I'm going to talk to you about this as a whole cycle of what's happening, okay? So at one time, science believed that the world was objectively real. So that the world was here, like was outside of us and had nothing to do with us, okay? And that it exists regardless of our connection to it, okay? So that's actually not true, all right? The composition of the atom, this atom was researched. So everything is made of atoms, right? So the composition of this atom was researched. And inside this atom, they found electrons, something called electrons, and they also found something called quarks, okay? So now we actually have the means to go even deeper, to break into that electron, to see what's inside those quarks. And what they found in there was pure energy, okay? So since everything is made up of atoms, that means that everything is pure energy. Everything, whether it's a rock, a table, a wall, you, me, your dog, it doesn't matter. This computer, all right? Everything is made of pure energy. We all share that in common, all right? So this was found out through quantum physics because science couldn't really get around what was happening, all right? So quantum physics states that everything in life is connected. They call it the grand unified field. So when I talk about, if you've seen my other videos, that everything is one thing, this is because the whole universe is connected, and everything in it, it's all connected. We're all fingers off the same hand, all right? So you need to think about it that way, fingers off the same hand. Doesn't matter if you're a tomato or whether you're a person, okay? So we're all fingers off the same hand. So pure energy is not physically measurable, but this energy has its own intelligence, okay? Energy, it made us, okay? So energy responds in a non-physical and a non-common sense way. So what we think is common sense is not really common sense to energy. It works in a way different way than we work. Okay. So there's a book that talks about this, and there's a book called The Science of Peace and the Power of Prayer. All right. So that might be a book that you want to read. Everything has the commonality and the pure identical energy. Everything. So let's just understand that. So everything has the commonality of pure identical energy. We all share it. I don't care if you're an alien in another galaxy with 2 stars, we still all share that same commonality of energy. All right. This energy is also known as consciousness, and some of us, we call this God, or God consciousness, Allah, whatever you want to call it. All right. So because it's the whole universe and this whole structure and it's one thing, nobody owns God. Okay. As it says in certain religions, you know, God is mine. We have Allah. We have this, we have that. It is the same God. Okay. It is the same energy. There is no difference. It's only our perception of what we think that is. But scientifically, it's already been proven that it is not. Okay. So it is one thing. All right. So everything you read in these books and stuff about religions, and this is this, and that's mine, and this is my God, and that's your God. And yeah, no. Okay. It's the same thing. All right. So God is everywhere, which means that God is inside every single one of our atoms. You want to call it God. You want to call it source. You want to call it the universe. You want to call it Bob. It doesn't really matter, but it's inside every single atom of us. So God runs through us and is all around us and is in every single thing. All right. Everything, whether you are here or whether you are 50 galaxies away from here, we all have this same commonality. So nobody owns God. Okay. It is impossible for this energy to not exist. It is not possible for the universe to not exist. Okay. When people say to me that they don't believe in energy, my response is go look in the mirror. Go look at everything around you. Just open your eyes. Okay. Because it is in everything. So for anyone at this point in 2019 to say to me that energy doesn't exist, I am going to say to you, get educated. Okay. Get educated because it does so. All right. Like without it, we wouldn't be here. All right. Without it, nothing would be here. So yes, it does exist. All right. So it's infinite and it existed forever before us and it will exist forever after us. Okay. So it goes on and on. There is no beginning. There is no end. It just goes on and on and on, and it is infinite. Okay. So once again, nobody owns God. Okay. It is indestructible and indestructible. So we can't destroy it, but we also can't create it. But it can be manipulated and changed. That can happen. And I don't mean just the way that energy interacts with us. That can be manipulated and changed. Okay. So all energy is linked. And as I said, it's known as the grand unified field. Every aspect of our energy affects the energy in our surroundings. So this is something that I tell my clients all the time. So if you make change in your energy, everything around you will change. It's just what happens. Okay. And you're going to understand why as we move further into this. Okay. So when you change your way of being, everything around you changes. It's a fact. All right. We each have our own separate consciousness that is unique to us, but it is also linked to the collective consciousness of the entire universe. Okay. So what I'm going to say to you is here, drop your ego because there is more going on in this universe than this planet. Okay. And the collective consciousness is part of every living thing. Everything that has consciousness is part of this collective. Okay. It is part of the collective. We are connected to everything and everything is connected to us. And that's why when we make change, everything changes. Okay. So everything is connected to us and we are connected to everything. Fingers off the same hand. Okay. We shape our life through our thoughts and belief system. And in the most cases, we don't realize that we are doing this. Okay. So we shape our lives by what we believe. And those beliefs go into our subconscious, because our subconscious, that's in our brain, our subconscious records every single thing that we see, that we think, that we feel, that we smelt, that we tasted. It is everything. Okay. And because it is everything, it records everything. Every single thing that we believe is like a program playing in our super server computer. Okay. So if that program's playing, watch what happens next. Okay. And those programs could have been playing for, tens and decades for some of us. We might have put beliefs in there when we were kids, and they're still playing. Okay. Because we never changed them. All right. And this is what happens when we don't change the beliefs. So our beliefs and thoughts draw from a multitude of possibilities in our existence. So out there, our universe is like a hologram, and there's all these different options and choices and futures and ways of things that can happen. So our beliefs will choose which pathway we are going to take. Okay. Which future is going to be ours. All right. Consciousness creates reality. It is important to understand the power that we have. All right. So I'm going to keep driving this home. It is very important to understand the power that we have. Our consciousness is creating everything we experience in our life. Everything. Okay. So our unique consciousness is creating everything that we experience in our lives. Our thoughts relate to our belief system. And those beliefs are recorded in our subconscious, like I said, and they're just playing over and over and over. So to change our consciousness, we have to change our belief system. Okay? In order to change our consciousness, we need to change our belief system, but it's not like the snap of a finger, because you've been playing those beliefs over and over and over for a very, very long time. Okay? So somebody might say, oh, I'm always like this, or I'm always like that. So because you keep playing that program over and over and over again, your consciousness is creating your reality. Okay. So life is not random. Changing our beliefs changes the personal world. So life just doesn't happen. Okay. It's based on the choices that we make, the intentions that we put out there, the beliefs that we have. All right. The thoughts, all of that. Okay, creates our reality. Life is just not happening. You are not on a runaway train. Okay, just watching your life. Okay, we act like that. We act like we have no control, but we actually have all the control. And you even being on that runaway train were choices that you made. Okay, you did that to yourself. So choices that you made. All right. We can change our experiences through our beliefs. If you believe and experience like a family, we're going to visit a family and it's going to be horrible. Every time I visit them, it's awful, right? It's always so stressful. It sucks, right? Or, oh my God, I've got to go back to work. It's always so stressful. My boss is an ass. Like, so, whatever it is that you might say, a fight with your partner, right? I'm going to go home tonight. He's just going to ride me. Like he's just going to drive me crazy about this one thing, right? So whatever you put out there, guess what's going to happen? You're going to walk in and have a fight with your partner. You are going to have a horrible family visit. Okay. You are going to have an awful day at work, and your boss is going to be an ass. So that is just what happens because our intention is there. Our belief is there. We have planted that thought, and therefore, guess what? We have the power. We just created our reality. Okay. So we are creating our world. These things are just not happening. Okay. So what if you choose to change your thoughts about a scenario? So setting a positive intent in your mind and imagine that it's the best and what it's going to look like. So not only are we going to say, I'm going to go to work today and my boss is going to be like, he's going to be in a really great mood today. It's going to be so different than any other day. I'm going to take him a coffee and things are going to be great. And I'm going to walk in with a smile on my face and I'm going to ask him what he needs. And you're imagining this. You're seeing this in your mind, right? You're putting out that intent. And chances are pretty damn good that that is what's going to happen. Now, understand that other people are also putting their intent out there as well. So it's not like just you have all the power, right? So wouldn't that be nice? But you know, we all have this power. So it's not just about what we want. There's other people out there too. So our intention is vital. It is vital. What we intend to happen is vital. Okay. So big underline, highlight, it is vital. Okay. Showing consciousness our intention through our imagination is what nails it. And throwing some emotion behind it also gives it a punch, right? So all of these things matter. Your intention, your imagination. People say, I don't have an imagination. Yeah, you do. You might not use it the same way you did when you were a child. You might not sit there and play house and pretend, you're talking to your imaginary friends. But as an adult, you are still using your imagination. Are you not planning things? Are you not talking about how things are going to lay out, making assumptions? This is going to happen, that's going to happen. It's all using your imagination, okay? Your intention and your imagination, right? So, and you put emotion behind it as well. So all of that, you are using the tools. You are just probably using them in a very backwards, not very beneficial way to yourself. And still, I haven't told you what's happening yet, okay? So you can change an event simply by the way that you think about it. This is a simple truth, and it's not magic. It's not like poof, magic. It just is, okay? It just is. Just like this air is here, and I'm breathing it in. It's not magic. It just is, okay? So your energy is connected to everything, including other people's consciousness. So your intent has more power than you think. So if your intention is that your boss is going to be in a great mood toward you, at least, if he's going to be an intention, just putting that intention out there, just imagining what that looks like, just putting all those thoughts into that are highly likely going to happen. Maybe not the first time, but maybe the second time, or maybe the third time. It is going to happen, but you have to keep putting it out there, okay? So it's time to change your intentions and your beliefs. So let's look at this in a very simple context. You control your day. So you can decide whether today is going to suck and be a really bad day, or whether today is going to be a great day. And let's say you woke up and you kind of woke up and you had a bad dream or whatever, and you're kind of in a mood. You can choose to stay like that, okay? And just let that mood carry out throughout your whole day. Or you can throw your shoulders back, you can smile, you can stand up straight, and you'd be like, whatever, I'm in a good mood, right? So our state of being has everything to do, our physiology has everything to do with also how we feel. If you walk around and you're like this, you're gonna feel like that, right? So, but if you like try to be in a bad mood with your shoulders thrown back, smiling, right? Feeling good about life, you can't. It's not even possible, okay? So if your life is full of bad situations, it's because of your belief system, your thoughts, and your intentions. So now let's talk about emotional addictions right now, because that is something that's really important. And here's where the magic happens, okay? So in our brain, we have bazillions of neurons, okay? These things called neurons. And science has proven that we create structure with these neurons based on our thoughts. So we structure these neurons based on our thought system, on our belief system, okay? We are wiring our own brains. You are your own neurosurgeon here, okay? You are wiring your own brain, all right? And you are wiring it with your beliefs and your perceptions of life, okay? So if you think negative thoughts, now listen carefully here. If you think negative thoughts, the neurons that relate to pain and misery. Let's say you're thinking about something all painful and misery and you're kind of in victim mode. So let's talk about victim mode, okay? So I hate that word victim. I really do, but it's a thing. So we're in victim mode, pain, everything happens to me, blah, 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 okay? So so you relate to pain and misery, and all of those neurons that relate to pain and misery start to join together inside your brain, okay? And they wire themselves into a pattern of negative thinking. Okay, so this is what's happening in your brain, all right? Then those neurons send messages to your hypothalamus, okay? And the hypothalamus is your chemical manufacturing center, okay? It's your factory for chemicals, okay? So the hypothalamus recognizes your victim thought because your hypothalamus doesn't really care. It just is getting the command and it's going to do what you tell it. It's not like, oh, no, let's not think that today. Like it doesn't do that, okay? So it's going to do what you tell it to do, all right? So the chemical manufacturing center, the hypothalamus recognizes that you want victim mode, okay? And this manufactures these chemicals called peptides. And these peptides for this particular command, let's just call them the victim peptides, okay? So the victim peptides are then released, okay? Then they're released into the body and they reach the body and there we start to experience our painful feelings, okay? So we start to experience our painful feelings. Now, the cells in our body, they receive the chemicals and it starts to hurt. Okay, the cells start to hurt. Okay, we can literally feel the pain in our body. All right. The more cells that get these particular chemicals, this composition of victim peptides, the more that they get addicted to them. Our cells are very highly addicted to whatever chemicals that we send it, okay? So now they're getting flooded with these victim peptides and they're like a little drug addict, a junkie. They want more, okay? They want more, all right? So every cell in our body is an addict, and that is a fact. And they're unconditional. They don't really care what you're feeding it, right? But whatever chemicals you're feeding it, it wants it, okay? Whatever chemicals you are feeding it, it wants it. Doesn't care. Like a junkie, right? Give it heroin today, give it ecstasy tomorrow, give it LSD the next day. You know what I mean? Doesn't care. Just give me whatever, right? So the cells are the same. They are highly addicted to the chemicals that we are producing through the hypothalamus, okay? So cells are unconditional. They don't care, and they get addicted to those chemicals, whether they are good chemicals or whether they are bad chemicals. Do you see where I'm going yet? All right. So they call out for more peptides that they are hooked on. So the cells start saying, give me more. Give me more of that, okay? So all of a sudden we feel crappy for no reason. So we just get up and we feel crappy. Nothing even happened. And we feel crappy and we don't know why. And it's because the cells are now calling for this drug, this victim peptide. It wants it, right? So it's like, bring it on. I like that, right? So it starts getting, it wants it, okay? So then you start feeling crappy all the time. So then we think about why we feel this way. Okay, so why am I feeling crappy, right? So that's our next thing. So then you start to remember, oh, this happened to me, and because that happened, and then this is happening, and we start to spiral into a depression, and this whole vicious cycle starts all over again. Okay, so now you're like, why do I feel crappy? Oh yeah, because of this and because of that, and the whole thing begins again. All right. So every time a cell divides now there's the cell that's dividing because our cells divide, right? So every time a cell divides, it has more and more receptors formed to that particular peptide. So as that cell that's flooded with the victim peptide divides, now we've got more cells that are formed with the victim peptide in it, okay? And it wants it, okay? So if you've ever been in victim mode for a really, really long time, your cells reproduce and they are geared to receive more and more of that drug, of that victim peptide. Okay, so that's what's happening. So then you spiral into that depression, okay? Or you spiral into, depending on how severe it is, it's like, remember, there's energy in all of these atoms, right? And you're filling it with these chemicals. And that is now in your body, and your body is starting to feel pain, and you're getting things like fibromyalgia and cancer and MS and depression and mood disorders and things. And this is what's happening, and this is how it happens, okay? So you feel awful mentally, emotionally, physically, right? Now, let's throw in the law of attraction. Now that we understand what's happening in our body, let's just throw in the law of attraction, because like that's not enough, okay? So the law of attraction senses what we're feeling, and it starts emitting it, these thoughts, these negative thought patterns, into the ether, into the universe, into energy, okay? So what we emit, we draw more and more of, because the frequencies and vibrations of these thoughts patterns, okay, of this negativity has frequency and vibration. And what happens out in the universe is that in energy, like vibrations and frequencies attract to each other like a magnet, okay? So now you're pulling out of the collective and out of everywhere, you are pulling more of those negative, of just those, whatever you're emitting, okay, of those, that frequency and vibration. So we're going to stick with the victim mode. So you're pulling out more of those victim mode frequency and vibrations out of the universe. So like what you're doing seems to be not enough. So let's pull in some more from, you know, other places, okay? So we think more and more negative thoughts. We get addicted to anger. We can be addicted to grief. We can be addicted to despair. We can be addicted to these emotions, okay? And anything else that doesn't serve us, all right? You become like you're in bondage, all right? You're in bondage at this point, all right? You're like your own S&M. You're like your own sadist and your own masochist all rolled up into one, okay? So no one does this to you. You did this to yourself. So I know we blame our parents and we blame people for stuff, but no one did this to you. You absolutely 100% did this to yourself, okay? There's only so long that we can ride the parent, my mom and dad did this to me train. My parents were horrible. I grew up in a dysfunctional family. There is really only so long that you can ride that train, okay? Honestly. You know, but I still hear people that are saying this at 40 and 50 and 60 years old, okay? So it's way past their responsibility, okay? We have the power, each one of us has the power to turn all this around. So all of what I've stated is true for all emotions. So if you can be addicted to anger, and you can be addicted to despair, and you can be addicted to grief, you can also be addicted to joy, and you can be addicted to happiness, and you can be addicted to love, and you can be addicted to very good emotions as well. It all works the exact same way, okay? They're just different chemicals, but our cells will become addicted to those chemicals, okay? So it all works in exactly the same way. So our emotional reality is reflected physically in our brains. Now, the work that you have to do is to undo the damage that you have done. It can be done. You had so much power, you did this to yourself. You do have the power to undo this to yourself. You may need help to do this, okay? You know, that's what I do with people, because we're so wrapped up in our own, like, how do I even begin to fix this, right? So where do I even start? Because just saying a few positive things is not going to change this. So people start ranting affirmations and they say them, and yeah, they'll do a little bit of change, but they're not going to, like, those beliefs have been in there for a long time. So it's going to take you a really long time to change them all back to what you want them to be, okay? So this can take a very long time, or to do on your own, or you can let someone like me who knows how to do this really quickly facilitate that rewiring with you, all right? So I don't do things to you. I work with you. We're a team, okay? We work as a team. We do this together, all right? Because you have all the power, okay? I can't make you do anything. You have all the power, all right? I just show you how to use your power, all right? So the more positive and loving feelings that can be had, it begins to change the wiring in the neurons in your brain. The more beliefs that we can change to positive beliefs for you begin to change the wiring in your brain, okay? So we have to change what your cells are addicted to, Basically, that's what it comes down to. We have to change what your cells are addicted to. We have to change your belief system. We have to change your intentions. We have to change and release triggers, okay? There's a lot of damage that you may have done with all of your negative thoughts to get you into this spiral, to get you feeling it in your body, to get you feeling it mentally, okay? So all of a sudden, everything in your life begins to change, all right? The way that your brain is wired creates your new reality. So as we rewire things, your new reality starts to come out, okay? The power is within you. I want to tell you that the power is within you. So let's talk about some different therapies that people go to. So they go to talk therapy. I do not believe in talk therapy, and I will tell you why. Not because I don't do it. I do talk to my clients, but we are more solution-based. I don't want my clients, nor do I let them harp on about positive or past negative trauma, because why? What I just said, okay? They're re-traumatizing themselves, and then they're feeding all of that, and the hypothalamus is then feeding the chemicals in, and they're throwing that out into the law of attraction. When we say something, when they sit down and they talk to a therapist and they're telling about their whole lives, and this happened to me, and then this happened to me, and then this happened to me, you are not reporting the news, okay? You are creating your reality. We are creators. That's what we do. We create all the time, okay? So Joyanne is saying that she's been unraveling the damage for 3 years, okay? I work with my clients and we're doing it in 10 to 20 sessions in a few months, okay? So and then even then there's stuff that they have to do, but at least then I taught them how to go on about it. We unravel the biggest part of the damage. And then I've taught my clients how to keep it going, how to keep doing it, okay? The next thing, so talk therapy, we're talking. We keep creating the reality, all right? So I don't let my clients talk about stuff. Like even when they come in for consults, I'm like, give me some headlines. I don't want to know what Uncle Bert did to you over and over and over again. Just tell me that it happened. I don't need to know any more than that, okay? I don't need to know every second of your life, and then this happened, and then that happened, and then this happened. I will not let you do that. Not in my clinic. I will be like, no, stop. I don't want to talk about it, right? So we don't want to talk about that because that is not what I want for you to keep doing to yourself, okay? The reason why you come is to stop, okay? So talk therapy to me, unless it's solution-based, okay? So I'm very solution-based when I talk with clients. Okay, so got it. Now this is what we're going to do now. So it's more solution-based. We're planning what we're going to be doing, okay? We're getting the subconscious to buy in. We're putting your intent in there. We're working with your power of self-healing. There's a lot happening that we're not talking about, all that stuff that happened in the past, because we can't change it, okay? So there's no sense in re-traumatizing you over and over again, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to change your consciousness. You need to change your consciousness to start changing the rewiring in your brain with your neurons, okay? It's like when people say things like, my mother had cancer, my father had cancer, so I'm going to get cancer. That belief, you're wiring your brain to give you cancer. Only 1% of cancer is hereditary. They have already proven that. The rest of it is environmental, or we ask for it, okay? You get what you ask for, okay? And I will tell you that Joyanne said that, okay, I've never been to talk therapy. I tried it. I did. When I was at that point in my life, before I knew everything that I know now, I tried talk therapy. I wanted to kill my therapist because I would always leave that session feeling angry and like shit. And there would be one more week that I wouldn't speak to people in my family. And then I would be like, all of a sudden, I start to calm down, come back down to reality a little bit. It's usually around day 6. And then I had to see them on day 7. So it's all going to start all over again. Okay. So I became suicidal from it. Okay. So I'm telling you that, talk therapy only works if you It's solution based, because continuing to feed those beliefs by talking about them over and over again is not going to work. It's not going to work. They may teach you how to cope with things and they might teach you how to handle things, but then that creates something called the beach ball effect, right? So the beach ball effect is when we start learning how to suppress things because we're coping and we're handling. So what we're really doing is we're suppressing and we're pushing down all these beach balls, and we're pushing them down and we're pushing them down and we're pushing them down. And then all of a sudden something happens that's really small and pop, 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 the balls go flying. Okay. And who is going to be the victim of your wrath? Usually the people that you love around you. And they may not have even been the reason for what you're feeling. And it was one small thing. They moved a plate from here to here and you lost your shit because that was the one small thing that was going to send those balls flying. And then you look like you're absolutely nuts and nobody knows why you're acting so crazy. Right? Sound familiar? I know I've done it. I put my foot through TVs. So I can tell you that it's a thing, okay? And it was over something so small, but it was just that buildup. Okay, and then I threw myself into victim mode and the whole thing happened again. All right, so there are some crazy vicious cycles going on out there within us and we're causing them ourselves. So it's time to stop pointing your finger at someone else. Always three fingers pointing back at yourself. So don't point at someone else. Don't blame someone else for your issues. Don't blame someone else for your problems because you caused them all. That was the biggest pill I ever had to swallow in my life, was that I did that to myself. So if I did it to myself, I managed to undo it to myself. So if I can, you can. All right. But I didn't do it alone. I'll be honest. I got help, right? So I got help from the right kind of help, right? So it's up to you what you do. Is your life worth it to you to change your situation? So stop talking about how crappy your life is and start creating the life that you want for yourself, because you do have the power to do that. Okay. One of the reasons that I use lots of tools. Okay. So I use lots of tools. I use applied kinesiology to speak to your energy in your body. So I know exactly what's wrong and exactly what needs to change. It's very quick how these things happen. It's amazing. Okay. Even the foods that you put in your body, what you're putting on your body, like all of these things. And if you are empath or if you're psychic in any way, guess what? Those foods and those things that you're putting on your body are charged up with other people's negative energy and you are absorbing them. Okay. So guess what? You're feeling a bunch of stuff that's not your own, and this vicious cycle is starting, and it wasn't even yours to begin with. So there are some things that you need to understand that are happening. All right. You need to understand how energy works. You need to understand the subconscious mind. Okay. You need to understand your neurons, and you need to understand and accept what you've done to yourself. And when you can accept this, you will have peace, because when you know what you've done, you can undo it. Most of the time that we're sitting around going, I don't know what happened. I don't know how this happened. I don't know how. If we don't know how, then we don't know what to do to fix it. Okay. But I'm telling you that you can fix it. All right. There's not many things that we cannot undo. If it's gone super far, like, your 5th stage cancer, there are some things that still can be done to manage it. Maybe put you back into remission. Maybe. Okay. I know I'm working with fibromyalgia, like off the charts, how that's working, right? So it works. CBD, right? That puts the receptors, those receptors that are in the cells. We have trillions of receptors in our body, right? The CBD is putting the receptors back into homeostasis, into harmony and balance, right? That's why when people take CBD, they feel like the anxiety is lifting from them. They're not feeling the pain in their body. So this CBD is helping physiologically through the body, okay? While the work that I do with people is working on their conscious and their brain and rewiring and their belief system, okay? So we're working at it from here, and if my clients who will take CBD are working on it also as physiologically, and we're kind of coming at it from all angles and making the changes happen really fast, okay? So there's no excuse. There's no excuse. Okay. If those of you that know me, I am not a coddler. I'm not like, oh, poor you. No. Okay. Not go in there. There's enough people in your life doing that. Okay. I am not going to be one of those people. I am going to get you through it. Right. So that's what I do. Right. We are solution based here. We are going to get you better so you can have the life that you want. Okay. Because you deserve it. Because you deserve it. All right. You are worth it. You were not brought onto this planet to suffer. That was a choice that you made. Okay. And this is how it happens. So now that you know this, sorry, it's a long video, but this is important information. So I didn't mean to go on this long about it, but it is important information to know. It's important information to know what you are doing to yourself. Okay. Whew. So that being said, some of you, I'm sure, couldn't listen to this whole thing. It's early in the morning and you've had to go to work or whatever, but I do suggest that you come back and you listen to this. Okay. It's important. And if you want some more help, if you want help with this, then reach out to me. If you want to, or someone that can do this for you, or you can choose to suffer. Like, honestly, it's your choice. No one can make you do anything. All right. It is your choice, but just know that you did it and you are responsible for you. Okay. No one else. You control what happens to you. You decide what happens to you. You're not a victim. You've chosen to be that. Okay. That was a choice that you made. So you can change it. Okay. You did it. You can undo it. So, you're welcome, Joyanne. So that's what I'm sharing with you this morning. Very important to know this. And if you are empathic, if you have any kind of psychic abilities, whether it's mild, moderate, or high, this is very important information to know for you, because you're not only affecting yourself with your own thoughts and your own emotions and your own energy, but you are also being influenced by those that are around you. So there are a lot of things that you need to know to make sure that you have some clear boundaries. Okay. Again, you have the control. You do. Okay. I am right between a moderate and a high psychic. I'm an intuitive empath, and I see people all day long, but I have some clear boundaries about what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. You know, what they can experience what they want, but I don't have to. Right. So I have a deal working with my consciousness because I have put those beliefs in place that it's not mine, so I don't own it, so it's not going to affect me. Okay. So you can do that too. You can lay the boundaries. All right. So that's my information for today. Any comments or questions, please share them. And thank you, Joyanne, for all of your comments and for sharing. And yeah, escaping the matrix. It is a matrix. It is a matrix. Okay. No shit. It is a matrix. So yes, you can escape it because you have full control of your own matrix. How about that? Okay. So I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Look at my reflection in the mirror. I see that it's not the person who lives inside of me. Done with all the fear and doubts, the negativity. I'm shedding all the crap right now. I'm stepping